Well, hello. Welcome to American Reversion. I'm Steve Smith. I want to talk about a couple of things today. First off, they keep loading up. I'm not sure if they're doing it on this channel, but over on Integrative Preparedness, they're loading up my videos ever since this shooting in Uvalde with ads for gun control and gun control groups and stuff like that. The heck with that. This one is brought to you by my book, The Reversion, and all of my other books. They're not going to advertise on my channel and get away with it without me also getting my piece in there. You know, I just put up a meme over on the Patreon channel that said when Cain killed Abel with a rock, God didn't do away with all the rocks, right? He blamed Cain, not the rock. We don't have a gun problem. We have a people problem. We have a societal problem, and I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about civil war. It's already here. But this is brought to you by my book, The Reversion, and all the others that make up the Stonemont series. Some people have said they were having a hard time exactly finding out because if you go to Amazon, they're all available on Amazon. But Steve Smith is a common name, right? And each one of the books, there are other books with those names kind of in them or kind of like them. The best way to find them is just put in the Stonemont series by Stephen C. Smith or go to the link. I always put the link down below. But I put it in the information, and I think a lot of people weren't seeing that, and also how to get over to our Patreon channel to support us. So I'm going to start putting that as a comment and pinning it to the top. I've noticed that other channel creators do that. Maybe that'll make it easier for you to find. I'd love you to jump on board, become a Stonemonter. These are about the collapse of a country, our country. The preparation for surviving that collapse, the process of surviving it, and the rebuilding of it afterwards. So, if you'd like them, love you to. And there's also a way to get autographed copies from me, and I'll put that information down there too. Excuse me, the allergies are kicking in, and I might cough a little bit. I apologize ahead of time, and I will try not to as much as possible. Did you all read, before we get to the idea of civil war, and I'll throw this in too. More information keeps coming out about Uvalde, the shooting down there. The more that comes out, the more disgusted I am. I put kind of a lengthy one up over on Integrative Preparedness. If you're interested in that, it's over there, but I won't copy it over here. That's just to let you know. And the more that comes out, I am just absolutely disgusted with what I am hearing and reading. Did you all happen to hear about this before we get to Civil War? Charleston, West Virginia. A woman in West Virginia fatally shot a man who began firing an AR-15 style rifle into a crowd of people that had been gathered for a party, authorities said. Probably didn't hear a lot about that, did you? Dennis Butler, 37, was killed Wednesday night after he pulled out a rifle and began shooting at dozens of people attending the birthday graduation party outside an apartment complex in the city of Charleston, that's West Virginia. Police said in a statement. The woman, who was attending a party, drew a pistol and fired, killing Butler, the statement said. No one in the party was injured. Instead of running from the threat, she engaged with the threat and saved several lives that night, Chief of Detectives Tony Hazlett told news outlet Thursday. That's right. The way to deal with a problem is usually through it, not away from it. Butler was at the apartment complex earlier in the evening in a vehicle that had been warned to slow down because children were playing, police said. They said he left, but returned later, parked in front of the complex, and began firing. After fatally shooting Butler, the woman waited along with several witnesses for police to arrive, and all have cooperated with the investigation, authorities said. Hazlett said no charges will be filed against the woman. A whole bunch of points here that I'm sure immediately jump out at you all. We had a moron with a rifle. Occasionally they happen, right? Who came in, and instead of running all over the place and diving, a woman who was carrying And I have a question here. A woman who was carrying, good for you, ma'am, drew her weapon and shot him dead. Right. This is America. My question is, why was she the only one? What are you men doing? You men are supposed to be, I know it's been a while, you men are supposed to be, and I'm not talking to the people in this crowd, I'm talking to the vast majority of men out there who will not carry. You are supposed to be the protectors of society. Where were you? Because you wouldn't do it. A woman stepped up, as she should have, and as women are perfectly capable of. And I'm seeing more and more strength in the younger women and less strength in the younger men. I'm going to tell you some stories about, I don't know if I'll do it here or over on the other channel, but you know, in the old days when I was, the idea that a man wouldn't step up and confront something like this was just unbelievable. And young men aspired to it. Now, when a young man steps up and acts like a man, I feel that I ought to compliment them because they're exceptional. Isn't that the case? Used to be the one who wouldn't step up was the exception. Nowadays, it's the one who will. Well, good for you, ma'am. I don't know, did it say in her name? It didn't say her name. She ought to get a medal. This is a gun that was used for good. Who stopped it? A good person with a gun. Stopped a bad person with a gun. That's how it stopped. The police didn't stop it. If she hadn't had a gun and used it, how many people do you think would have been shot and killed before the police got there? And Lord, if it had been Uvalde, if it had been a department like Uvalde, they might have set a perimeter out there somewhere and made sure they secured the area while people were getting killed. Okay, enough of that rant. I could rant on that for an hour, but I want to get to our main thing here. Civil War, it's already here, folks. I was watching my buddy Zombie Farmer this morning on a video that he put out. If you're not, I know we got a lot of zombies over here now because zombies stepped up when my other channel got taken down there for a minute. And he stepped up and let everybody know that I was on this one. We got a lot of zombies over here now. Welcome to all of y'all. So I was watching Zombie today, and he was talking about civil wars coming. I would no way disagree with him, but I'm going to amplify that just a little bit, and I'm going to tell you that civil war is here. And civil war has been here for quite a while. Now, what am I saying that? You know, do any of you recognize anything? The thing that they taught in school was called a civil war, that they lied to you about. Wasn't a civil war at all. It was a separation of a group of states from a federal government that was trampling their rights. Does that sound familiar? A civil war. So it was a war of aggression by one country, the United States of America, against other states and essentially another country which had withdrawn from it. It was an invasion, and then it was a genocide. What is a civil war? Because we're in one now. What happens as a result of it will tell us whether we go into revolution, separation, secession. We don't know. A civil war is when you have different groups fighting for the control of the same government. Now, I suppose you could make a case that, well, the right hasn't been fighting for control of the government. That's the truth. They haven't been fighting at all. The right doesn't stand up for anything. The right plays a defensive game of football in that let's lose as few yards as we can. We won't try to gain any, because that would tick off our friends on the other side of the aisle. And we wouldn't be able, we wouldn't be invited to the parties, and we wouldn't get, we wouldn't be able to stay in Congress and lap up all our goodies. Because they pander to the great slime-like middle with no substance, who just oozes back and forth with, the latest media hypnosis. So the right doesn't stand up at all, but the left has. And they have been involved in a civil war against our country for years. And by that I mean they have done an excellent job. If you were here when I read the 45 goals of the American Communist Party, they started a long time ago. Then when we hit the 60s, all those people just kind of joined in and hopped on the bandwagon. They wanted to overthrow what the United States was. A country founded on belief in God, following the precepts of God, the Ten Commandments, the Golden Rule. Strong families, strong communities. The left didn't like that. And so they got themselves together and they started fighting. They didn't fight in a way that people recognized was fighting. They fought in a way that people thought was just opinion and politics. But they inserted themselves into our schools and into our churches and into our governmental apparatus. And they have been successful. They have almost completely overturned what this country once stood for. Almost completely. The Civil War that they have been involved in for a long time is almost complete. And they have almost become victorious. Now, I say almost simply because we haven't had a formal surrender yet, or a formal separation yet. But you look at what this country was based on, you look at what it's become, and tell me if you don't think that the original intent has been overthrown. The latest, of course, has been more violent. The riots all over. The peaceful protests that were excused, not just excused, but encouraged, supported by people in the government. I won't say our own government. That just won't come out of my mouth. Supported, allowed by our own, no, I can't say that, by the government, by the police, by law enforcement, by the judicial branch, by the legislative branch, by the executive branch. Remember all those branches that were supposed to be so great, that supported this wonderful country? Well, they have been overtaken through a quiet, mostly quiet, only occasionally shooting and burning and bombing civil war. I think what people on our side mean when they say that a civil war is coming is perhaps, and I don't mean to put words in anyone's mouth, is perhaps that it may be that people are about to rise up against the Civil War that is being fought against us for years. And to that end, I agree. I agree. It's going to be terrible. It's going to be horrible. It's too bad. It's time to prepare so that you will be able to survive through it. Protect yourself against it. Against what may be coming. Prepare yourselves the way that you feel you should. Share the message with others. That is so important. Zombie said in another one that he did today, he says that so many channels, the big channels, the big preparedness channels, the big patriot channels and all that, so-called patriot channels. I won't even say what I think about them. Because, well, I just leave it there. But he said something with which I concur. Support your channels, if you would. This is the way, because we are in a fight. And this is the way you support the word getting out. Whether it's me or Zombie Farmer or Real World Prepper. This is the way you help get the word out. Support do what you feel you should, whatever that is. But this is an opportunity for you to do that. It's coming. Talk with your friends. Try to influence them. Try to educate them as to what's very possibly coming down the road. Because when it gets there, you're going to want those people on your side and understanding and as a part of the group that you can bring together. Study what happens in countries that start to fragment. Prepare yourself for that. And you know that what you want around you is a strong group, a strong circle of family and friends, like-minded people who are prepared for what's coming. Okay. Thank you for your support on this channel and my other channel. Thank you for supporting those other channels who are getting the word out and who are standing up. Remember, if you'd like to support this channel, you can join us on Patreon. The link's down there. We'd love to have you. That's the way to do it. And remember, this video is not brought to you by any gun control group. It's brought to you by me and my book, The Reversion, and my other books. And if you want to know how to prepare for a collapsing country, how to live through it, how to live well through it, and how to rebuild afterwards, the Stonemont series tell you all about it. You all have a good day. Remember, America needs a reversion. It needs to go back the way that it was supposed to be. In whatever formation that might be. Might not be like it is today. But it needs to go back for those of us who want to raise our kids and our grandkids in an America blessed by God, the way it was when I was a kid. We have to be a part of that. Can't just sit back and listen and watch. Got to be a part of it. Either get out there on the front lines or support the ones who are. So I thank you all. Have a good day, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.